Haaland, you mentioned, has a niggle. He might be out for that Wednesday game. Does that bring in Alvarez? They've got the backup we've been talking about, squad depth, changing the game, bringing on decent players. How do you see Man City's game against Villa, and how do you see the one going on Wednesday, mate?
Yeah, I think with the Villa game, well, they lost against Spurs, so they had to win that. I think with the Haaland injury, he might potentially go back to a false nine, maybe play Foden up front, because that's where most of the success came from when they had Sterling, Foden, and other players, Mari, just interchanging. They're the most fluid and effective. So we're interested to see what he does. But again, Alvarez is a great player as well. We've seen that in the World Cup, and he's done it in parts for City as well. With Haaland, he does tend to go missing in the big games. His scoring record ain't great. I mean, against the smaller teams, you could argue he's a bit of a flat track bully. He does score loads of goals, but against the big teams, he's gone missing, and he hasn't scored many. So it might actually do them a favor for Wednesday. But I think Wednesday should be a great game.
Yeah. My 7-a-side group, man. We've got like 2 players so far. Usually you get like 14 within like a couple of hours. But everyone's watching that game. Every neutral fan's watching that game. VJ, looking at that back three, there's a load of experience. City have that, don't they? They have the depth to pull on players like Laporte and Ruben Dias, recovering from injuries. Kyle Walker. Cancelo's not even in the squad anymore. This is like the old City that we know of. You look at those players there, they all settled experience, Premier League winners, lots of experience going up and down that team. Do you think that, City will go on to lift the title? Do you think that the argument on squad depth is valid? Or do you think this Jekyll and Hyde City is going to be the reason they fall short?
Yeah, I think it's a good question. I think we're all sort of, because Arsenal are where they are and they've been where they are for quite a while, it's we kind of see that they will go on and win the title. But you're right, when you look at City's squad depth, it's the best, right, for those sort of in the league, to be fair. And we just talked about Man United, and if they lose 1 or 2 key players, Rashford or someone like that, or if Arsenal lose a Saka or someone like that, where do they go from there? I think with City, it kind of always doesn't matter. It was just mentioned minutes ago, Haaland is injured. Oh well, that's fine. They've got cover. It's not even a question. And I think if City, Arsenal are still at it with sort of 5 or 6 games to go, I think the pressure will be on Arsenal to sort of win it with that young squad. And I think whether the mentality will be there with them, given the City have been there and done that many, many times. So, yeah, it's a toss-up. I think squad depth, they win it. And like I said, I think if they're still in it, 5, 6 games to go, I think they might be able to pip Arsenal to it, potentially.
Fair enough, mate. Are you still back in Arsenal at this current game week? Because your money's still...
Yeah, I think so. Because I think you just said it, right? I think there seems to be that... there doesn't seem to be a consistency, although we know that Arsenal have lost a couple, lost one and drawn one. But I think that is a mini blip, not a crisis.
Yeah. They've got the big boys back. Akanji's out, Ake's out, Lewis is out, the youth is out, the experience is back in. The A team, as maybe Pep would call it, is back in. Do you see them going on a run now, or do you see this Jekyll and Hyde performance continuing, mate?
Well, I think you're right. I think we had a catalyst moment when we lost 4-0 to Brentford, right? And United's season sort of kicked on. I think the worrying thing is that City are still in and around it, and they're not even at third gear. I think if they find their gears, they'll blow the league away. And I think Haaland is absolutely fine, and I think he plays in the game on Wednesday. And he might start on the bench, but then if you watch that game with Tony and Saliba, wouldn't you want to play that game if you're Haaland, right? So there's a piece here where I think they could bully Arsenal in that same sort of system, but also their squad depth and the fact that they've won it before, and the fact that they haven't really hurt their purple patch, they're going to be serious contenders, because whatever Pep is, and however crazy it is to leave De Bruyne on the bench, right? He is able to get the team to go on a run. And this is the thing. No one's really clicked and put a run together. Not a single team so far in the Premier League. And I don't know if that's because World Cup sort of disrupted things. But overall, Sultan's right. There is an aging midfield there as well. So, in time, that's going to be affected. But right now, but also who do they beat? They beat an Aston Villa side that's got Ashley Young and, Callum Chambers. So no disrespect to the players, but look at who you're playing against. So I think sometimes if City kick on, then it's a hell of a game. I think if Arsenal want to win this league, they make a statement and they go and win on Wednesday.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That will be an amazing result for Arsenal because they put the points on the board as well as the mental kind of win as well and just give you that momentum to go on and keep winning. We've got Manchester City being accused of cheating. You've got VAR not helping our Arsenal. It's been a really bad week for an Arsenal fan, Sage. Do you see a reaction on Wednesday or do you fear that there could be a collapse on the horizon?
I wouldn't say a collapse. I'd just say this at the moment in time, it's a blip, to be honest with you. We've had like 2 bad 2 games. If you look at everyone in the Premier League, there's no one in the league right now that you could say that can't beat each other. Because I reckon Newcastle on their day can beat United on their day, and United can beat Newcastle on their day. Tottenham on their day can beat City. We've seen before. City on their day can beat anyone. I'm not sure about Chelsea and Liverpool. They're just a bit weird this season. I'm not going to lie to you, but Brighton are capable of beating anyone. See that top 8 right there? Everyone in that top 8 is capable of making each other drop points. So I'm not too worried about that. And with the Everton loss, that's a new manager syndrome, as far as I'm concerned. It's not like Arsenal have been playing extremely bad. We just haven't created enough chances. We've been dominating possession in the last few games. Even the game against City didn't bully us. They got a goal at the end, to be honest with you. We didn't play great. Trossard had a couple chances, but overall, it's not like they're blowing us out the water. So I'm not too worried and too concerned about that. But Wednesday is very important. We do need to beat them. So I don't think this is a collapse. If we beat them, title charges on. If we lose, it's looking like it's swinging to City's way, but it's not a collapse. I think it's just a blip at the moment. It's just the inexperiences are kicking in, a little bit fatigue as well. That's what I think that's going on right now. And Arteta needs to look at his squad and think really hard who should he start on Wednesday. Because I think Martinelli needs a rest, to be honest. I think Zinchenko might have to rest that game as well. It's a lot of things to think about. So it's not a simple answer for me.
Yeah, I think this could work in your favour, Sage. I think Man City are going to play that nice, open, expansive. They're not going to be like Everton. They're not going to be like physical like Brentford. You're going to have a really great spectacle because you've got similar philosophies. Man United came to the Emirates. They played good football for the first 70 minutes or so. They were in there. And then I think Arsenal in the end just kind of wore them down. And I see this game being very, very fluid, left and right, pound for pound. I don't see City putting 8 behind the ball, and I don't see Arsenal putting 8 behind the ball. But let me ask you this, mate, before we move on to Liverpool and close off. Do you think Arteta needs to deploy a more defensive tactic on Wednesday, or would you say go for it the Arsenal way, a bit gung-ho, and just believe you can beat them, but then leave yourself wounded at the end of it with a Haaland or a bit of magic from one of their key players? Or do you think it's time Arteta now shows a bit of variation and maybe changes it up a bit against Man City, which is what we did to Man City at the Lane and beat them?
I think he needs to switch it up a little bit because obviously our game style is starting to get a bit predictable where Ben White gets the ball, he plays it to Saka, Saka's looking to cut in or play the ball to Odegaard. Everyone's going to start reading that after a while. Martinelli as well, he's going to cut in, try to get the ball to Nketiah. It's rinse and repeat, so he does need to switch it up. In regards to tactics, I don't think our style of play can hurt City. Last season, I remember Pep making a quote, giving a quote about playing us at the Emirates, saying that he's scared of us. So this is the time to show why he feared us. And I think this is the perfect opportunity. Regarding serious changes, I don't think we need that many changes. I just think Trossard needs to start, personally. I think Saliba rest. He needs a rest, man. People got to remember he's young. He's not that experienced in the Prem. Yeah, he's done more in League but the Prem, as you said, different sort of league, different pedigree, different pace. You're gonna get tired. So I don't know what Arteta's gonna do there, but he needs to sort out that little right situation between Ben White and Saliba, as far as I'm concerned, because if Alvarez starts because Haaland can't play, I'm scared. I fear Alvarez a little bit more than Haaland because people tend to forget FA Cup game. Haaland didn't do much, but when Alvarez came on and popped off that shot, we conceded. We conceded from him popping off shots. I feel like Haaland's not a ball carrier. Alvarez is. And I'm more scared of ball carriers and finishers. And when it comes to certain things, like these sort of games where it's going to be very technical, it's going to be open spaced. Because with a physical player, with Gabriel, I'm not too worried. He will handle that. But from the Brentford game, I'm a little bit worried for Saliba. So I do feel like we need to change that bit. And Ben White wasn't helping as much. With Tomiyasu there, I see Tomiyasu helping out the centre-backs a lot. So I do agree with you to a certain degree that defensively, we do need to switch it up. Attacking-wise, see, this is going back onto G's point again in the transfer window. We should have got another striker because Nketiah, that apart from him finishing, and he's a great finisher, but he doesn't offer much else. Let's be real. He's not going to take on 3 people. He's not going to outpace someone completely. He's not a physical character in the box where he's going to bully people like a Drogba. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's not like Harry Kane, where if he's not doing that much influence up top, he's going to drop in and then he can play the ball.
Is he your weakest link at the moment, Sage? Is he the weakest link?
You know what? I don't want to pass blame onto one singular player. That's not my style. But for our lack of goals at the moment, yeah, he's our weakest link. Definitely.
Fair
so
enough.
so I just don't know. Like, we need to change something up top, mix it up, and change the defense. Otherwise, we're gonna get battered.
Maybe you switch it up and put Saka down the middle, put Martinelli down the middle, put Trossard on the left. You know, you find a way around it, and that's why Arteta's paid the big money. And you know what anyone says about Arsenal, they've had a phenomenal season so far. And even if they finish third, even if they have a collapse and finish fourth, it's still a brilliant season. And they've given Man City a real run for their money. And let's hope Wednesday's game is not, ruined by VAR and dodgy refereeing decisions. Let's just hope it's a nice, entertaining game. Maybe a 3-2 or something like that would be amazing. And we look forward to a really good game.